Feasibility study: economic, technical, operational, and schedule. A feasibility study is used to assess whether a proposed project should be undertaken based on identified associated risks. It does this by assessing feasibility in the four areas of economic, technical, operational, and schedule feasibility. A feasibility study will be conducted on multiple potential ideas for a project. Based on the outcome of a feasibility study, a project manager will be able to decide whether a project is worth doing or if the costs are too great and that therefore the project is not feasible. So, based on the criteria of those four areas of economic, technical, operation, and schedule, the actual manager can see, is this idea we're thinking of too risky or we don't have enough resources to complete this idea, and does it compare well or is it a worse idea than other ideas we have. So we do feasibility studies multiple times within the same project to kind of weigh up our different ideas against each other, measuring the associated risks. So let's start looking at these criteria. So the first one is that of economic, which relates to the budget for the actual project and how much money we have to spend. So economic feasibility overlaps with the other areas of feasibility, as there is often financial costs related to the other areas. So there's things such as purchasing new hardware and software that relates to technical feasibility. We'll have to train staff in the use of the new system and get people to cover for them while they're being trained, and that relates to operational feasibility. And there are costs associated with timelines and running past headlines, and that obviously relates to schedule feasibility. So you've obviously got an introduction now to what the other three are. So we'll move into next, technical feasibility, okay, relating to the hardware and software required for a proposed system. This area of feasibility relates to and assesses whether the current hardware and software we already have within a business can cope with the proposed system. And if not, is it feasible to purchase new technology? And sometimes technology has been updated, technology changes rapidly. And so that might be a justifiable option. We need to get with the times and get new hardware and software. So here all the hardware and software will need to be justified in whether it is necessary for the new system and necessary for the business. Okay, and that's what we're going to check out there. Is it worth the cost of getting new hardware and software? Can we use our existing hardware and software? That's what we've got to analyze in technical feasibility. The third area is that of operational feasibility, okay, and relates to whether users and participants will be able to efficiently use the new system. So users could be just anyone who accesses the system, and participants are people that help run the system and keep it working. Okay, operational feasibility considers the technical skills of employees and as well as users, okay, and whether training will be necessary for the staff and what materials will need to be available for training, such as operations manuals or video tutorials or online resources for them to access if they need support with a new system. But essentially, does the actual staff and our target audience, do they have enough skills to use this actual system or idea that we want to put out there? And if not, what can we do to aid them? So what materials can we have to aid them, such as operations manual? Can we give them training so that they could potentially actually access this new system? Once again, we need to weigh that up. Okay, is it worth going ahead with based on the skill level of our target audience and our staff? The final area is that of technical feasibility, which relates to our time frame. How long do we have to get this product out there? Can we develop it within this time frame? So it's all about time. So here the time frame needs to be assessed, as projects also that run over time will have both financial and organizational impacts on a business. Okay, running over time, time is money. And so that will have an impact. It will affect the organization's operations in that they won't have the system in time, so it will affect their business and potentially their reputation if things run over time there. So time is a very key element here. We could have the greatest system in mind, but if we can't develop it within a reasonable time frame, well, that's going to have a big impact on an organization. And look, that actual scenario relates to most of these areas here too. If we don't have enough money, we don't have the technology, and if people don't have the skills, we can't create any system we envision. That's why we need to weigh up these four areas here. So I hope this video is giving you an understanding of feasibility studies, which is checking the associated risks in relation to our ideas that we might have in relation to a project. And look, the symbols on the screen here are the great way to summarize what each of the four steps mean. So economic, relating to the amount of money we have available; technical, relating to hardware and software; operational, relating to people and the impact of the system on them and whether they can use it; and schedule, the time frame we have in order to develop the system.